Welcome to Financial Issues, where we help you steward faithfully by honoring God with your investments. Now listen in as we give you the practical tools and advice you need to become a biblically responsible investor.
This is Financial Issues, where we help you defund darkness and fund the light by investing with biblical integrity. Folks, it is great to be back with you today. Seth Udinsky, Sam Case, and your host, Mark Manila, back from a long weekend. Good morning, gentlemen. Mark, great to be here.
Good morning. Good to be back, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. Hope you all had
Tuesday, Monday morning.
It does. I know. It's one of those, isn't it? Yeah, raise your hand, folks, if it feels like a Monday. It's nice, guys, because it is a Tuesday, so we've already skipped ahead into the week. We're almost to the weekend there.
But that means I'm going to be thrown into confusion all week long. It's going to be a mess.
It's fun to watch you in that state of mind.
He likes to watch me struggle. Yeah.
Get your popcorn ready. Well, I hope you all have your popcorn, your coffee, and a way to call us, a cell phone or a landline, because the phone number is open. Phones are open, 610-363-1110. We'd love to hear from you, 610-363-1110. The calls and questions, part of today's show, also our PreBorn campaign marching on. Got a lot to talk about, guys. But first and foremost, we're seeing space stocks. You know what? I'm going to let you say the joke, Sam, because it's so good. It's so good. So
but you're the pun guy. I did write this one. I said they're blasting off. See what I did there? Amazing.
It's amazing. Tell us, Sam, what's going on?
Yes. So space stocks.
That's out of this world.
Going out of this world, blasting off, going to the moon, as we say in the financial business. That comes after SpaceX tested its latest Starship rocket, prompting Rocket Lab to rise close to 6%, and AST Space Mobile gaining 7%, just to name a few of them. This is SpaceX's 12th Starship test. It did weirdly have engine problems and actually blew up, but that's not discouraging investors because it did still successfully deploy those satellites. Also, people are just excited about SpaceX in general. Their Starlink service now has over 10 million subscribers and generates billions in annual revenue and profit. Company also exploring AI data centers in space, and on top of that, preparing for that massive record IPO that's set to value the company around $2 trillion. And other companies are taking note. Over the past year, those two companies I mentioned, Rocket Lab and AST Space Mobile, rising both over 300% over the past year. However, both companies still remain unprofitable, so there is a question about what is the valuation, what should it actually be on companies like this. Now, Mark, we've had some questions over the past week about space stocks. So what do you think about the industry right now, especially in light of all the exciting things going on with Elon Musk and SpaceX?
It's very exciting to me. I love space, for one. But it's very exciting to me. SpaceX, I'm very concerned about a $2 trillion valuation. That means what a speculation. First of all, let's take a look at
Mark,
the
am I
industry.
right? That's the biggest IPO in history?
I believe
right?
so, Sam. I believe so.
Crazy.
And not only that, though, but think about this. Where are the revenues going to come from? Well, you mentioned the internet, the satellite internet. That's huge. A lot of government money. That's huge. But they've lost billions for the last 2 years, if I remember correctly. So we need to be looking at this and thinking, is this kind of like the AI bubble or the internet bubble or any other bubble? Do we really want to jump in at this point? I mean, a lot of people could make some fast cash on this because, AI going viral and going public at the same time that SpaceX is doing, it just... Bottom line is it's very speculative, the whole thing. It wouldn't be the wisest thing to jump in. Now, do I mind if people do it? No, I'll probably jump in on some areas. I'm reviewing a list of over 100 different space companies I call space companies, that I've dug up over the last week or so, and trying to decide, are any of these, do they have a future or not? I mean, you tell me, does this sound speculative to you? Let me bring up one or two of these. Valuation being the PE ratio. Let's see. it's just crazy. Valuations and growth. And I mean, there's just some of these that their PEs like 5,900.
Oh my gosh.
Holy smokes.
So they have revenues.
It's out of this world PE.
There you go.
Right. They have revenues, but their price is through the ceiling. How about a 2,500 PE or a 1,900 PE or 1,000 PE? And then we go to the other end, and it's no PEs because there's no revenues yet, or they're just totally in debt. Our growth projections, forward growth projections, where over half this list is really negative. Well, not negative, but negative to not applicable, because there is no growth yet in these companies. So we got to be really careful is what I'm saying. It's exciting. It's really thrilling. I love the idea of a lot of stuff going on like this. However, unless you're a speculator, you got to be very, very careful. Now, we're probably going to come out with some ideas here in the next couple of weeks as I refine this list and see if I find anything. But those companies that seem to have a foothold in the space industry have already ran up incredibly. I expect, like any other bubble, all these will pull back after. This is just me. I never try to predict the future, but I've seen it over and over. You see a company launch with all the fanfare, and it goes through the ceiling, and then it drops like a rock. Let's see. Wasn't Newsmax like that?
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Well, it goes up like a rocket ship and blows up like a space.
How about Trump coin?
Yes. Yeah.
There you go.
How about there's a lot of companies like that. Then they stabilize and they get on a good trajectory. I think there's a lot of money chasing stocks these days, and that's part of the reason everything's overvalued and going through the ceiling. So maybe with the ending quantitative easing and with the new Fed chair pulling back on the money supply a little bit, we'll see some of this correct itself. And if interest rates continue to rise, we'll see some money pulled out of the market, and maybe things will start normalizing on the space. Be careful though. This is one of those traps, I believe. This is one of those over-exuberance traps is space. Not everything that dealing with space is going to do good. I know some very smart people who are doing some things, and this list that I'm working on contains a lot of these type of stocks that aren't really in the space industry, but service the space industry, build things the space industry needs, supply stuff the space industry needs. So you might look at things like that going forward. And as we are.
It's funny. You mentioned about the speculative nature of this. We have a partner who gets in our chat sometimes. He's really big, at least dipping his toe into the space area. And he said, it feels like betting on horses a little bit because all of them are tied to how well does SpaceX do, because that's where the momentum does. So he's like, I kind of have some money riding on if this Starship actually works out this weekend.
Well, that's what speculation is.
It's
It's more of gambling than investing. Remember, investing, you are trying to get behind something, you believe in something, you want to see it go, and you believe it has what it takes to make it happen. Well, out of this 75 to 100 stocks that I have now that I'm reviewing and taking a look at, a lot of them, they don't have any financial issues to deal. They don't have any fundamentals that make sense. They're just in the industry. Now, granted, some of them do have grants or some contracts with the government, and that alone should pull them along for a while. But we've seen what happens with, let's go over to the NGO side. When you start giving organizations money, there's not a lot of oversight, and it gets abused. Same thing with government money going to purchase things. The oversight isn't as stringent as it should be, and these companies can be very wasteful and pay themselves millions and millions of dollars to the 10 or 12 people on the board, and then never produce anything or never get the company structured properly to start paying its own way.
Because they don't have to deal with natural market forces. They're giving an artificial boost with the government.
What was that? What was that one precious metals company, USAR or something like that?
It was USAR.
Remember the big hit? And I haven't looked at it in a little while, but I don't think they were ever profitable yet. And yet it went through the ceiling because the government Trump bought into it to create a precious metals or the needed metals for our technology. But it may be years before they even bring in any money. You might have a different view on this. You may be excited about space. You may be in space. Either way, give us a call at 610-363-1110. We'd love to hear from you.
Everyone keep.
My wife and I, we moved into this neighborhood. We had some experience with Crossroads Kids Club. We had served at another club. We kind of thought to ourselves, like, it would be really, really cool for us to actually bring in a club that was able to share the love of Jesus with kids directly into the school. And so we started our Crossroads at Hilltop.
Crossroads is amazing. You can learn all kinds of things about God. That He loves all of us. He died on the cross to pay for our sins. That He will help me in every way.
There is just such tremendous opportunity to reach kids in some of these areas that just aren't being reached.
Sometimes I pray every night. When I feel alone sometimes, God is right there sitting next to me. I can rely on Him no matter what happens.
Help reach kids with the hope of the gospel. Visit reachOurschools.com.
When it comes to handling money, I'm lost. How to save, when to invest, where to invest. As a Christian, I don't want to give my money to people who are going to use it for things God hates. When I discovered financial issues, it was like a burden was lifted off my shoulders. Not only did I gain access to a simple investment strategy that I can manage myself, I also have the peace of mind that my money will not be going to companies that actively promote things that God hates.
Invest your money in a God-honoring way. Go to financialissues.org.
At Financial Issues, saving babies has always been a part of our calling because every day women in crisis are making heartbreaking decisions. But when a mother sees her baby on the ultrasound, everything changes. And right now, your gift can go twice as far because every dollar you give is matched, doubling the number of ultrasounds and ultrasound machines provided through PreBorn. Give today at preborn.com/FISM or dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby.
Mark, when you closed that segment there, talking about the people who are in space, I couldn't help but think those who are mentally in space, like their heads are in the clouds.
I thought you meant like the aliens.
That's where mine.
Easy now, easy now.
I'm not saying anyone in particular.
Fortunes are made in speculation.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah,
they really are.
Oh, for sure.
In fact, I, when I first came on, remember my conversations about why don't we have a spec asset allocation in our portfolio? I really believe we should have, especially in the growth. We should have an aggressive growth that has a spec allocation and a small percentage for people like Sam.
Mark, what about people like me who often find their heads are literally in the clouds?
Well,
like what do I
don't know if there's much we can do about that.
Not much you can do about that, is there?
Yeah, we just keep bringing you back to the Bible.
You guys help me. Thank you. Hey, 610-363-1110, folks. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. Mark, I had a follow-up question as we're talking about, this space sector. Is there any way that we could perhaps expect, or maybe it's just a hope, that other sectors might benefit from this sector kind of gaining some more momentum?
Yeah, that's a great question. Absolutely. That's some of the stocks that are on my list, my 100 list here that I'm looking at. They deal with things. Some of them are in construction, believe it or not, because, every time one of those spaceships launch, there's massive damage done to those areas. They have to be rebuilt. There's stuff like that. There's fuels that need to be replenished. There's electronics that need to be manufactured. There's all sorts of stuff. And remember, the electronics for space have to be so much more durable than the stuff we use on Earth. I don't know if you knew, but in the early days of our, like going to the moon, they had chips in the spaceship. A lot of people didn't know that, but they were hand weaved chips, meaning they were actually done by hand,
really?
not laser cut, because they needed to use actual copper wire and stuff to make these chips, so they had to be huge, I guess. But they had to hand weave these things so they wouldn't fail in space because of radiation.
That's what I was thinking. All this stuff
like
has to survive that gob ton of radiation,
temperatures, all sorts of stuff. Yeah. So there's all sorts of manufacturers. A lot of people has dismissed a lot of the electronic companies. You know, the people who make old style electronics, not digital electronics, those are still needed for space, you know? So there's just all sorts of things that could be there. And I think a wise investor would be looking at that and finding out who is SpaceX contracting with for some of the stuff.
Who's their supplier?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Mark, you mentioned construction. That's one that flew under the radar for me. I didn't think about that one as much. My mind goes to tech right away, but certainly construction too. Are there any other ones we could think about? I mean, would industrials be connected to this at all? Are there any other ones?
Well, considering that one of the main reasons that I believe SpaceX is going public is to raise the money to do the things that Elon wants to do, and that's to put all those satellites up there that become AI servers in space. Yeah. Okay. Well, to do that, he has to buy computers. He has to buy all the stuff to put into space. So, yeah, we need to be looking at computer manufacturers. I believe that even Dell might have some contracts with them. I'm not sure. But looking at those, we need to be looking at even security companies, security and software security, and software in general, believe it or not, just general software. Remember, software has to rule AI for AI to be productive. Otherwise, it just gets crazy and goes off on tangents. So you need agents, which are software programs, to control the AI and keep it on path and keep it on sync. There's just almost every industry in one way or another. I think that we're really missing the boat on a lot of these things, and that will become very, very known. Battery companies, a lot of people didn't think about that. Yeah, I know that Tesla is a battery company, so unfortunately we can't use Tesla still. I'm still hoping they'll clean that up. Eventually, hey, Elon, if you're watching, there's one thing that you're doing that's keeping you from being on our buy list, and that's the transportation of people for transgender surgery. If you could just stop that, we could put you back on the buy list. And I know that you have a heart to do that. If nobody's told you, please look into that. You don't even have to call us and let us know you did it. We'll find out.
I mean,
but if you want to call,
but yeah, that's great. Good stuff, Mark. Speaking of calls, phone lines are open, folks. Give us a call, 610-363-1110. Hey, guys, I want to switch gears here for just a moment because we are in the home stretch now of this PreBorn campaign. You all have done such a great job. Amazing. We're at just south of $240,000 as we begin this final week. Now, I want to be very clear here. This campaign jumped off to a hot start, and then we slowed down just a little bit in the middle here. So now we're setting it up for a typical FISM photo finish, as it were, where we just wait until the last minute and then we blast across that finish line. So I would encourage all of our listeners, Mark, if you haven't listen, now's the chance to do so. We got about 5 days left and still about 40,000 to go. Mark, why are we doing this campaign? Can you just remind our listeners?
First, because God so loved the world, he sent his only begotten son, that whoever should believe in him will have eternal life. That's the main thing. Remember, Christ died for us. He believes that we are all precious, everyone that he's created, including every one of those babies that has been aborted. This is the organization. This is the number one organization that is out there doing it all right, reaching the moms, helping the moms meet their baby, and then giving them the opportunity to choose life, then coming alongside them, helping them financially with the things that are needed for new babies for the first couple of years, and then helping them spiritually realize that Jesus is our Savior and he is God, and he loves us and he loves them. So they have all three of the legs of the three-legged stool to care for and love on moms, and they do it respectfully. They're not high pressure. They're not trying to convince people to do one thing or another outside of loving the Lord and choosing life. And they don't even try to convince them. They just show them and allow them to come to that conclusion that this is truly a baby and I am blessed with a child. That's why we're doing this. We want to raise more money, help this organization to reach more women in a pregnancy crisis, and to save more babies. Amen. And honoring God the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Mark, I'll just add this too. And listen, I want to be careful saying this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway, and I'll apologize later if I need to. If we have any donors to FISM, people who give donations to FISM, and you have a scheduled donation, you're planning to give a donation to our ministry this week, do us a favor. Give it to PreBorn, because FISM is going to get that money anyway, because this is a double match here. So give the donation to PreBorn, and that way you can help us hit this goal. And it's not like the gift won't come back to Financial Issues anyway, because this anonymous donor is giving the entirety of what we raise, the equivalent of what we raise, back to Financial Issues as a gift at the end of all of this. So if you're planning to give to Financial Issues, just give to PreBorn. Yeah.
I almost feel guilty about that in a way, you know. Yeah. Our goal for raising money for PreBorn has nothing to do with Financial Issues.
That's
yet
right.
Here an anonymous donor steps up and says, guys, anything you raise for PreBorn, I'm going to match to PreBorn, double it, and match it to Financial Issues.
It's the icing on the cake, man.
It is.
Yeah, it should bring tears to our eyes to think about how good God is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hey, Mark, I don't know if I've actually told you this yet off air, but I'm just going to tell you right now. We do have a preborn mother that we're calling her. She's going to join us on the show actually tomorrow to share her testimony. Wow. I'm really excited for that.
That is exciting. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
This is a young woman who was in a crisis pregnancy and was blessed by preborn. I don't know the specifics of her story. We're going to find out tomorrow, but it's going to be an amazing time, folks. I really hope that you'll join us for tomorrow's show and hear that.
And would you just pray about this first? But if you know someone who loves the Lord and who loves honoring the Lord and is trying to do that, that the Lord may be tugging on their heart to do something, but they don't know what to do. Tell them about PreBorn. Tell them about the fundraise that has and how their donation can be doubled. Just, if you talk to 10 people and 1 out of 10 did it, think about that. That would be 5,000 new donations this week that could come in for PreBorn if every one of our partners did that. Just talk to 10 people and 1 out of 10 just sent $10, $20, $50, $100. Usually somewhere in there, somebody's moved to do huge amounts, and that's also great. So, but whether it's $1 or $100,000, it all counts towards life.
Yeah. Amen, brother. Preborn.com/FISM, folks. That's the easiest place to go. Preborn.com/FISM. You can call PreBorn, #250, say the keyword baby. And you can also make a donation out of your perhaps non-traditional gift ways that you can do that. A QCD, gift of appreciated stock. You can email meg@financialissues.org for more questions on that. It's been such a great campaign, Mark, and I'm honored to have played a small part in it, with this. But really, it's our
God
listeners.
allows us to partner with PreBorn is awesome, and that God allows us to be part of this movement of life is incredible. Yeah. Praise you, Jesus.
Amen. 610-363-1110, guys. Commentary will be coming out soon, so make sure that you keep an eye out for that as well. The markets on Friday, they rose Friday's closing bell, so all three indices moderately positive. The Russell 2000 was the winner, up almost a full percent. It was a good week last week. The Dow Jones finished up over 2% for the week. S&P 500 almost 1% for the week, and then the NASDAQ was up 0.5%. Mark, I'm wondering if Wall Street is going to be keeping an eye on that space stuff. Looking good so far here in the pre-markets, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I think this is going to be an incredible month, Seth. We have that. We also have, what is it, OpenAI is going to go public this month?
I think, yeah.
It might be another $1 trillion IPO, who knows? We're seeing some craziness. But you know what else we're seeing in the market? We don't have a lot of time for this, but this market has been pretty consistent and steady, and that's because the earnings have been good on the companies. There you go. Fundamentals rule again, hold the markets up even during volatile times. That's a really cool thing. That's one of the reasons we believe in stewardship over speculation. Although I do like a little speculation. It's like a little seasoning on the portfolio.
That's little hot sauce in the pot. That's right.
Little spice. And maybe you got a spicy comment or a question that you want to bring to us, and we're glad to answer them. That's why we have our phones here, 610-363-1110. If you got a question, give us a call.
Each May, we celebrate Mother's Day and the gift that mothers are to us. But for many women carrying a child, motherhood feels uncertain. They're facing fear, doubt, and some are considering abortion. This May, you can help make motherhood possible by supporting PreBorn. PreBorn partners with clinics across the country, providing free ultrasounds and sharing the hope of Jesus Christ with women who are abortion-minded. When you give to PreBorn, you're giving these women a chance to choose life. Just $28 helps a woman hear her baby's heartbeat, a powerful moment that leads 80% of mothers to choose life. And when we come together to sponsor 200 ultrasounds, we'll equip a PreBorn clinic with a life-saving ultrasound machine. Will you help make motherhood possible? Go to preborn.com/FISM to give today. That's preborn.com/FISM.
Navigating through investment. To obtain a copy, visit timothyplan.com or call 800-846-7526. Read each perspective carefully before investing. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
from you, folks. Give us a call, 610-363-1110. Great to be here, guys. You know what? I missed you two brothers over the long weekend. Long weekends are fun, but it's good to be back, too.
The Samless long weekend.
It was a markless long weekend. Yeah. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. 610-363-1110. Hey, guys, a real good question came in that I think would be good for us to address now, Mark. And, there's some layers to it and perhaps maybe even some information that maybe would be helpful if we knew what the information was that we don't have based on the question. But let's take a stab at it, Mark. This is Alyssa. She's 65 years old, and she says, our son is 10 years out of medical school with a student loan. The interest on the loan is ridiculous. We want to pay off the loan and then have him pay us interest-free. How can we go about this without a tax burden on him? Should we pay directly to the government loan company, or what would be the best for all parties involved? We do have the cash. I assume, Mark, they have the cash to be able to knock the whole thing out in one fell swoop. How can we structure this?
Yeah,
what should we do?
That's what it sounds like. Yeah. You're right. There is a lot of a lot of information missing from this question. We don't know the dynamics of the family. It sounds like he's been an MD for 10 years. I'm wondering, is he donating his life to the jungle and helping people if he doesn't have the money to pay back his loans?
He has a pretty good salary at this point.
Yeah, most MDs, especially in this environment. I haven't done a rant on this because I don't want to get crazy, but the medical profession has turned into a factory to produce money. My stay in the hospital showed me that they have all these processes and procedures for everybody that works at the hospital, and all of them are in alignment with billing, not in alignment with care for the patient. Not that they couldn't be, but the focus is on making sure this. You walk in a room, you got to put this in the computer so that we can bill it. You do this, you got to put this in the computer so we can bill it right away. Sorry, don't want to go there. We're on a different subject. But I'm very disappointed in where hospitals have gone.
Yeah.
And it's just money factories now. And I believe the medical profession in general have gone there as well. In general, I'm sure there's still some good doctors. But on this, Elisa, I think it's a wonderful desire. I think it's an incredible thing. You want to help your son out. There's nothing wrong with that. And if this money would have been inheritance anyway, why not just give it to him? I'm not saying it's a bad thing to loan it to him. If you want to maybe impose some, what would be the right word for this? Responsibility to your son. If maybe the reason you're having to pay it off is I'm not saying this is the way it is, but we have to speculate on what the situation is there. And here's why. Over 30 years in the industry of counseling people financially, and generally when parents are paying off adult children's loans or loaning them money, it's one of two things. Either one, they went through a really bad time in life, like medical accident, divorces and craziness, or the child is irresponsible. And I'm not saying your son's irresponsible. He may have gone through, not being able to work, not being able to stay in a practice or develop his practice, or maybe he really is a full-time medical missionary. I don't know. But so that's one thing. The idea of paying it off is a good idea. I don't have any problems with that. I like the idea of utilizing your wealth while you're alive to help your children and to give them their inheritance. But I would do a little warning on the loan thing. Family loans have been one of the biggest disruptors in family finance when I was practicing. Somebody would give money to one of the kids who was probably the most reckless of the kids that they had to help them for the third or fourth or fifth time. And it was causing a lot of problems between the siblings, between the parents and the kids and all stuff like that. So you want to be very careful about this. If they really need the money, go ahead and do that. But if you're going to do the loan, then you have to realize there are some laws about family loans. If you loan your son money and you say pay it back at 0 interest, the government could impose a 4 to 6% interest amount that you be taxed on. even if you didn't receive it, because they've seen so many families doing these loan things that they want to, well, it's the government. They want to get more money. So they won't. I'm not saying they will do that, but it's very likely they could, because there are IRS laws for that. So you want to be careful about that, how you structure it. If you want to just give it to them, well, that's the easier way. Then you don't really have to worry about him paying taxes or you, because this was inheritance money. Each year you can give, each person can give away $19,000 in annual gift tax exclusion money. So if you're married, that's $38,000. That's a good chunk on any loan. Or if you want to just pay the whole thing off, and let's just say it's $250,000, you could give that to them, and then you just need to file the form to take it off the $15 million of the inheritance transaction-free inheritance tax. Just treat it as gifts to your son.
Yeah.
So you could do that. But if you're going to do it with your son and you want to do it as a loan, maybe you need to charge 3.5%, 4%, or whatever the minimum is the government says you should be charging, and then structure it as a note. Actually write it down so that it doesn't cause family problems. You can say, we have this note. You sign this note. We pay off your loan. Now you pay us. Here's the payment. This is how long. And here's what happens if you don't pay. I don't know how or if you'd reinforce that. Seth,
Mark.
I have a little bit of a different perspective, I think, than most people do.
Sure.
For family members, friends, if somebody came to me and asking me for money, if I couldn't give it to them, I shouldn't loan it to them.
That's exactly right, Mark.
Does that make sense?
It's 100% right. And I love that you're getting at that, because that's my thought with this too, Mark, is I would lean towards just keeping it simple. If you have the money to lend to them, why not just give it to them and free yourself from the expectation of wanting it back or receiving it back later? But Mark, I agree with you totally. If you're going to put the money at risk in lending it to someone, you have to be ready for them not to give it back. And I'm not saying that, that this son is not financially responsible, but you have to be ready for it. You just have to. So
Right.
I totally agree.
Or the son doing real well, paying you back slowly, and he goes and buys a Maserati.
Yeah, absolutely.
Will that
and then you're like,
you?
well, wait a minute, hold on.
You still owe us $100,000. Why
I've heard
did you
a lot of
spend it on that
stories
car?
like that. It's like, why'd you buy a new four-wheeler?
So
and they're like, well, I didn't know I wasn't allowed to. I'm paying back my loan.
Right, exactly. So it causes emotional issues way too often. If you could get to the point in prayer and in meditation on this subject that you can say, I'm happy just to give this to my son, even if he doesn't pay it back, I'm happy with that. And I'm not going to impose my regulations on him. He's an adult. And if you think that he needs guardrails on this kind of thing, then that should be a warning sign that whether you should really be lending it to him until he hits bottom on it, because he may not need it at this point, and you may be enabling him to be frivolous. I'm not saying he is. Please don't take it like that. But I've seen it happen like that way too often. I think it's a wonderful thing you want to do that. I would really get a hold of your CPA before you do it to structure it, or an estate attorney to structure it properly. And, and just meditate on it a little bit. Make sure your son needs it and isn't just being loose with his money. And if he does need it, if it's just, it irritates you that so much money is going to interest, then you have to be ready to give it away, because you don't want to ruin a family relationship over money.
Yeah, just not.
Seth, in the Old Testament, I think that the Hebrew nation wasn't supposed to lend to one another. And charge interest on it.
Yep.
Okay. And then every 7 years, the loan would be erased.
Year of Jubilee.
So
there it is.
Yeah. So if you want to go back to that time where you're saying, well, the Bible says we should do this. Okay. Well, the Bible says in your loan document to your son, you should say in 7 years, if it's not paid back, we forgive the loan.
Yeah.
If you're going to follow the law, well, you're doomed anyway if you're going to follow the law.
Right.
But if you're going to get legalistic, you got to go that direction. And again, I'm not saying you are, but we got to cover so many spaces in this question if you don't give us all the information.
We don't even know if he's asking for the loan.
So,
that's right.
So I am praying that your son is an upright, steady, strong man who is doing well with his money, and you want to help them with this, and you could give him this money as part of their inheritance early on to help them, and that he would be so full of joy that he would weep over the kindness of his parents and honor the God in doing so. Amen. But you got to do what you got to do. And if you think it's best to put up guardrails, again, that's between you and God, because we're not in your life. We don't have that much information. So it's a great question. Thank you for your generosity towards your children. Thank you for your love for the Lord. Thank you for wanting to do something about this. And I hope this conversation helped a little bit. It may have confused things, but bottom line, talk to your estate attorney or a CPA. Make sure you structure it rightly if it's going to be a loan and if it's going to be a gift. Make sure you get the right forms to file. Over $38,000, you need to file a special form for gifting more than that a year to keep it from being taxable. Again, the number here, 610-363-1110. See a lot of chat people posing questions but not calling in. Hiding behind the internet, huh? 610-363-1110.
My wife and I help lead a Crossroads Kids Club, and one of the girls, she said, Mr. Dave, you keep talking about like you didn't really believe in Jesus and you were like dead or something, and then like you believed in Jesus and then you're like alive, and I want to receive that. And so we like just prayed there in our group to receive Jesus and owning this idea of life with Jesus for the first time.
Help reach kids with the hope of the gospel. Visit reachOurSchools.com.
As a member of Samaritan Ministries, your monthly share is a gift that goes directly to a real person in need. While that share takes care of the financial
At Financial Issues, saving babies has always been a part of our calling, because every day women in crisis are making heartbreaking decisions. But when a mother sees her baby on the ultrasound, everything changes. And right now, your gift can go twice as far, because every dollar you give is matched, doubling the number of ultrasounds and ultrasound machines provided through PreBorn. Give today at preborn.com/FISM or dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby.
The opinions and recommendations expressed on this program do not necessarily represent the opinions of the station or any of the program sponsors. Additionally, all products or services offered by the program sponsors may not be known by the program.
610-363-1110. Hey, Mark, it was a great conversation in that last segment there. And I wanted to share one more aspect of it from the perspective of the son. If I were in his shoes, Mark, like say I had my parents or in-laws came to me and said, hey, we know you have this loan that you have. Maybe it's your mortgage and we'd like to pay it off for you and then you pay us back. I would tell them no. And the reason I would tell them no is because I would rather be in debt to a nameless, faceless bank and have to pay interest than be in debt to the family that I have a personal relationship with that I love. So that's just another aspect of it. It keeps it simple, you know. And I'm not saying that's for everybody.
I think that points out something very important, Seth. Yeah. Every family dynamic is different.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
it is.
Like I said, I wouldn't expect any of my children ever to pay me back anything.
Yeah.
If they did, I would just be, not because they're irresponsible, but because, like I said, if I can't give it to them, I probably can't loan it to them. I shouldn't loan it to them, you know. And if they need it that bad, Cindy and I give up anything we had for our children. You know, that's the way it would be. If we didn't believe it would be helping them, if we, you know, like you wouldn't believe how many drug addicts or spendaholics, people who filed bankruptcy over and over that I saw, you know, their children, you know, like one child filed bankruptcy in moved state to state and ran up credit and filed bankruptcy in 3 different states. You know, it was really crazy. And they were still giving them money. It's like, why? You know, let them learn. If you don't let them learn, they won't grow. You should come along and give them wisdom before money in that situation, especially if they're a drug addict, because they're going to end up killing themselves, and you don't want to be responsible for that. Well, spendaholics or people who are addicted to spending have the same thing. They're going to end up in poverty one way or another with your money or without it. And the one thing we didn't bring up is that doing this for your children is a great thing, unless, you know, you also have to consider why God gave you this money. You're a steward. Right. Is this good stewardship of this money? It sounds like it is, but is this money also needed to care for you? Do you need this money to care for you? Are you going to be hurting? I'm not saying not to do it for that reason. You still could do it. But just make sure it is good stewardship. Have you gone before the Lord on this? Get on your knees. Pray about this. How does this help my son? How does this hurt my son? Lord, is this what you want me to do with this? Is help them with their inheritance while we're still here, which I think in general is a good idea. But anyway, enough on that.
Quickly, no, we do have a quick follow-up, though, that I think this is a good question. This is Elliot. He says, if a loan for a child is paid by the parent directly to the loan company, is that actually considered a gift for tax purposes? The money never actually goes to the kids. So what's the answer to that, Mark?
The money does go to the kids. When you pay off somebody else's debt, that is a gift to the person, and then effectively the IRS sees that as a gift to the person. If it's a loan, if you pay it to this loan originator or whoever bought the loan or whoever the loan's through now, that's not the same as paying for their education. This is a loan now, and that's all it's seen as by the IRS. If you would have paid the tuition originally, that wouldn't have been a gift. It wouldn't have been anything. It would have just been an expense for you. And there's special IRS code that allows you not for nobody to have to pay taxes on that and not to be seen as a gift. So that's a good question, Sam. But after they're out of college, especially 10 years, that's not the same thing. This is just a loan now. And so if you pay off the loan, you've paid off somebody's loan. That means you gave them money. You've changed their balance sheet. Therefore, it could be taxable in some ways, unless you do it as a gift. If you do it as a loan, then the interest would be taxable. And the phantom interest, if the government decides that this was a family loan because your son is paying you back, they're going to say the minimum interest that we're going to allow you to be charged is this amount. Even if you don't collect it, we're going to charge you taxes on it as income.
Great clarifier, Mark. Thank you for that. Hey, speaking of clarifiers, guys, we have to clarify one more thing here because it came up in our chat again today. When we say P6, that is PSIX. That is a ticker symbol. Again? Our FISM code for that is IN24. There is no FISM code letter P number 6. It does not exist. It is P6. No. PSIX is
That's
the name
of the company.
The name of the stock.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
There's also not an A6 either.
Thank you.
There is a company that is A6, but not A6.
And I believe we sold A6 some time ago, so hopefully it's not too much of a concern for people anymore. But yeah, just make sure that you click the save button in your minds. I had a teacher.
I have a whole ticker on the screen. Yeah. It says so right there. It's P6, not P6.
Yeah.
The radio people are like, what's going on?
That's right.
I think you ought to say it one more time because we've had so many questions. Seriously?
Yeah, seriously. PSIX. PSIX. It is the ticker symbol. It is not the FISM code. The FISM code for that stock is IN24. I don't mind saying it on the air, Mark.
There is no
IN24.
P for the FISM code.
Exactly.
Doesn't exist.
We don't have a P sector. So just make sure
the
that
potato.
And I'm glad we don't.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Mark. Yeah, 610-363-1110. Mark, you want to get to Timothy from your home state here in Missouri?
Let's do that. Timothy, welcome to Financial Issues. What's on your mind this morning?
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for taking my call. God bless you all for what you do. I always try to keep my eyes open for, stocks and things of this nature. And there was one that was emailed to me. Apparently, it's a pre-IPO stock, and they have a ticker already. It's $M as in Mike, O as in Oscar, D as in David, E as in Edward, and it's called Mode Mobile. And I was wondering if you guys had heard of this and what you thought about it.
Oh, okay. I haven't really spent any time on Mode Mobile, the IPO. It hasn't really hit the screen. I guess maybe, Tim, what's happened is with SpaceX, nothing hits the screen on IPOs except SpaceX now. If it got mailed to you, you're probably on some websites that promote IPOs that do stuff like that. So you got to be careful with that. Remember, the whole idea is to make it worth as much as possible when they come out. So it's all propaganda in those things. They're pitching themselves is what it's a company that turns smartphones into, I don't know, earn phones, rewarding users for things they already do on their phones. It sounds a little schmaltzy to me,
Mark, I was going to say, a similar thing. I'm not entirely sure what this company does, but I could see, and I'm not assuming that they're not biblically responsible, but you could see right away there could be some avenues that they wouldn't be biblically responsible connected to the phone there. And I'm not saying all phone companies aren't biblically responsible. Please don't hear that. But that's just my question, Mark.
I don't think there is a phone company that's big.
Right.
Yeah. But so this sounds like a little bit. It's very close to being a pyramid scheme type of thing. I know they got 40,000 users. They say they're in 170 countries, and I don't know, 50 million cumulative revenue generated. Now, that's a weird term to see, 50 million cumulative revenue generated. Cumulative over how long? Usually you don't report cumulative earnings. This is a phishing email. I'd be very careful with it. The offering is high risk. The language is a major red flag. The shares offered appear to be Class AAA common stock, and the filing says AAA shares don't have voting rights. So this is all laid out in a way that I would maybe poke it with a stick, but I wouldn't waste my time getting to know it too well right now. They haven't even filed for an IPO yet, so they're just speculating and talking about it. I guess from a Christian perspective, from a stewardship perspective, if you took financial steal and then speculative as being really risky but has potential, then I'd put this next to that as speculative, leaning towards scam. This would be only with money you can afford to lose type of venture at this point. Does that help, Tim?
It does very much, and that's, I would talk with you guys before I would venture out anything like that anyway, and which is the reason I'm calling, because I
appreciate that.
Awesome, brother.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for those kind words, Tim. God bless you, sir.
Brother.
God bless you.
All right. Yeah. Very interesting question. If you go out to a site, if you get those emails that says the top 10 stocks to buy today, all these different things, you click on them, you go to the sites, they now have your email address, and they're going to email you. They sell that information to everybody who's trying to raise money, who's going to put on the airs, who's going to put on the all the good side of it and not give you any of the downside until they have to. So be careful. Be careful with those kind of things. And Tim, thanks for giving us a call. And I want to thank you all for being with us today. It's been a fun show. It's been good to get back together with my partners here, and it's been good to get together with all of you, the Financial Issue partners, and all you watching on TV and listening on radio. God bless you all for being here. God bless you for your desire to honor God in all you do, including your finances. And God bless you for investing with biblical integrity. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. We'll see you then.
If we ever forget that we're one nation under God, then we will be a nation gone under.
Thank you for joining us. This has been an FISM production.